Before we start, everything you're about to hear is historically verified. We use AI only to bring history to life visually. The facts, the numbers, the human cost. All real, all sourced. This is HistoryBilled. Brussels, 1895. A king is sitting in his palace. He is reviewing the latest reports from his private property in Africa. The numbers are good. Rubber exports are up, profits are rising, the operation is running smoothly. He pours himself a drink. He has never been to Africa, not once. In 10 years of owning a territory 76 times the size of Belgium, he has never set foot there. He does not need to. He has agents for that. 10,000 miles away, in a village on the Congo River, a man named Chikwa is being told his rubber quota for the month. He does not know what Belgium is. He does not know what a king is. He does not know that somewhere a man in a palace owns him. He just knows the quota, and he knows what happens if he does not meet it. This is the story of King Leopold II of Belgium, a man who never visited his empire and killed up to 10 million people running it. Leopold II became King of Belgium in 1865. Belgium was tiny, peaceful, prosperous, and completely without colonies. Leopold wanted an empire, not for Belgium, for himself. He spent years lobbying every major power in Europe for a piece of Africa. He presented himself as a philanthropist. He hosted international conferences on humanitarian work in Africa. He talked about bringing civilization and Christianity to the people of the Congo. He was very convincing. In 1885, at the Berlin Conference, 14 European nations and the United States handed him the Congo Basin, an area of 2.3 million square kilometers, the world's only private colony. Leopold called himself its proprietor, not its king, not its ruler, its proprietor, like a landlord. The people of the Congo were not consulted. They were not informed. They simply woke up one day as the personal property of a man they had never heard of. For the first few years, Leopold made almost no money. Ivory, some trade, nothing spectacular. Then, in 1887, someone invented the inflatable bicycle tire, followed by the automobile tire. The world suddenly needed rubber, enormous amounts of it. And the Congo rainforest was full of wild rubber vines. Leopold had his product. He just needed workers. So he created a system. Every village received a monthly quota, a specific amount of rubber to be delivered to his agents. If the quota was met, the village was left alone. If the quota was not met, the agents had instructions. In Chikwa's village, the quota arrived in 1895. A number written on paper by a man he had never met on behalf of a king he had never heard of. Chikwa had never tapped a rubber vine before. Nobody in his village had. The quota did not care. Here is how the system worked. Leopold's private army, the Force Publique, had 19,000 soldiers. All officers were white. All soldiers were black Congolese men, conscripted by force or purchased from tribal leaders. The Force Publique arrived in villages. They took the women. The men were told, "Bring us rubber and your wives come home." The women were kept in enclosures. Many starved waiting. The men went into the forest. They tapped the wild rubber vines, not just the sap, but the vines themselves, killing the plants, making next month's quota even harder to meet. They worked until they dropped. And if the quota still wasn't met, the soldiers had one more instruction. They had to prove they hadn't wasted their bullets, so for every bullet fired, they had to bring back a hand, a human hand, cut from a body, as proof. Baskets of severed hands began arriving at administrative posts across the Congo. This was not a side effect of the system. This was the system. Leopold knew. He reviewed the reports. He never visited. He never stopped it. In Chikwa's village, the soldiers came in the 3rd month. The quota had not been met. His wife was taken. He went deeper into the forest. He tapped the vines until his hands bled. He met the quota. His wife came back. The next month, the quota was higher. This was also the system. Quotas increased every month. Because Leopold's profits needed to keep growing. There was no end point, no moment where you had given enough. You simply kept giving until you couldn't give anymore. Chikwa's village had 300 people in 1893. By 1903, it had 90, not because of war, not because of famine, because of rubber. In 1890, an African-American journalist named George Washington Williams traveled to the Congo. What he saw he described as crimes against humanity, the first time that phrase was ever used. In 1899, a merchant seaman named Joseph Conrad published a novel called Heart of Darkness. It was based on what he had seen traveling up the Congo River. In 1900, a British shipping clerk named Edmund Morrell noticed something strange. Ships leaving Europe for the Congo carried guns, ammunition, and chains. Ships coming back carried rubber and ivory. No trade goods, no payment. There was only one explanation: slave labor. Morrell quit his job and spent the next decade exposing Leopold to the world. He was joined by Mark Twain, by the Archbishop of Canterbury, by the British consul Roger Casement, whose detailed report in 1904 shocked every government in Europe. It was the first international human rights campaign in history. All of it aimed at one man sitting in a palace in Brussels, who never visited his empire. Let's count what Leopold's system cost. Between 1885 and 1908, the population of the Congo declined by an estimated 10 million people. Half the population gone from murder, from starvation, from disease caused by the disruption of every normal pattern of life. From a falling birth rate among a traumatized population, 10 million people. In the same era, the Holocaust killed 6 million. The Congo is rarely in that conversation. Leopold made approximately $1.1 billion in today's money from the Congo. He spent it on palaces, on parks, on public buildings in Brussels that still stand today. The Arcade du Cinquantenaire, the Royal Museum for Central Africa, the Royal Greenhouses at Laeken, built on Congolese rubber, built on Congolese hands. In 1908, under international pressure, Belgium took the Congo from Leopold. He was paid compensation. He died the following year, in his palace, wealthy, surrounded by the things his empire had bought him. He was never charged with a crime, not one. Chikwa never learned Leopold's name. He never knew that a man in Brussels had decided his quota. He never knew that somewhere men were writing books about him, campaigning for him, demanding justice for him. He just knew the forest, and the soldiers, and the quota. Belgium has never formally apologized for what happened in the Congo. In 2020, King Felipe sent a letter expressing his deepest regrets for the wounds of the past. Not an apology. Regrets. Leopold's statues stood in Belgian cities for over a century. Some were removed in 2020 during protests, others still stand. The Royal Museum for Central Africa in Tervuren, built with Congo money, is still open. The Democratic Republic of Congo today is one of the poorest countries on earth. It sits on an estimated $24 trillion of untapped mineral wealth. It has been unstable, exploited, and fought over since the day Leopold left. Some things do not end when the king dies. Was it worth it? 10 million lives, $1.1 billion. A man who never visited. Drop your answer below. If you're not subscribed, most people watching this aren't. It takes 1 second. Every war has a price tag. This one was paid in hands.